From medieval castles to World War II scars, watch along while we explore a city that has been frozen in time. Good morning from Poland. We have just arrived in Krakow and it is absolutely beautiful. As you can see, there is snow all behind us.
Strolling through a beautiful park. The trees are black and covered in snow. It looks like a fairy tale, a picture book.
We have 5 days in this amazing city. We've got some really cool things planned, some fun day trips, and we're back to go do our first walking tour of the trip to hit the top sites on our first morning.
We like to start with walking tours, just, as Grace said, hit some of the key sites and gives us something that we might want to come back and spend some more time on our own later on, but it'll just give us a nice basic history of Krakow and some of the key sites of the old town. But we're excited and trying to stay warm because it's a little bit chilly. We're all rugged up.
We'll bring you along with us.
We've just finished our amazingly informative walking tour, which was definitely worth doing. We've finished up here at Wawel Castle, where there's a lot of things to explore now after the tour. We're going to do the cathedral, but at the moment we're just looking over the famous dragon, which isn't breathing fire today because it's too cold, and overlooking the amazing Vistula River, which looks incredible with the steam coming off it because today's so freezing cold.
We were so excited to go and explore the castle that had been dominating the skyline during our walks around the city. This spot has a history that spans all the way over 1,000 years to the 9th century AD. The castle has been home to monarchs, the headquarters for German forces during World War II, and in modern times, a museum district.
Wawel Cathedral is part of the castle precinct. A fascinating mismatch of different architectural periods, this cathedral was so worth a visit. It was probably one of the best audio tours we've ever done. The stories of the important people who are buried in this cathedral were super interesting.
If you hold your left hand on your heart and you touch the clapper with your right hand, apparently if you make a wish it will come true, so fingers crossed. I had been eyeing off St. Mary's Basilica ever since we arrived in Krakow, so it was time to head back to the old town. Throughout our whole stay, we used the tram system, which was super frequent, super cheap, and convenient, given that the old town is actually car-free. Oh my goodness, we just did St. Mary's Basilica. It was absolutely incredible. I loved it.
Super, super beautiful. Really like a blue theme that I haven't seen before in any other churches. The ceiling was all this dark navy blue with like sun stars coming behind it,
like
sort of
a
light.
Constellation. Insane. Top 5 churches for sure that I've ever visited.
You said top 5 churches that you've ever visited, and we've visited a lot of churches over the years, so that's a massive call, but it is super ornate, super beautiful. Definitely worth coming to when you're in Krakow.
We spent 20 minutes in there. I could have spent longer. After our big day of exploring, we decided to do one of the best things in Krakow, and that is eat. We headed to a milk bar just outside the market square for a feast of delicious pierogi. We had the traditional cottage cheese dumplings and tried them pan-fried on the recommendation of the waitress, and they were so good. We are here in the main square of Krakow where we have spent heaps of our time. I've got the cloth hall behind me, which has a really cool museum underground that tells you all about the way that the locals lived their lives during medieval times. We've got the oldest building in the square, which is unsuspecting. It's a little cathedral behind me, and then we've also got St. Mary's Basilica, which absolutely blew us away. I love this square with the pastel coloured buildings. It is such a nice place to come to every day as the centre of Krakow.
We popped into the oldest building in Market Square, the 11th century stone church Adalbert, which was just adorable.
The Cloth Hall sits at the centre of Market Square. It was once the hub of one of the largest trade centres in Europe during the Renaissance period. Today, this historic hall has sweet little stalls selling souvenirs.
The Rynek Museum, which is under the Cloth Hall, totally surpassed our expectations. It was so cool to see how people lived in Krakow during the 14th and 15th centuries.
We wanted to climb the Rat House tour, but alas, they're on a winter break, a very long winter break. It is the second week of January and they're closed until March. Maybe it gets icy, but we won't get to see a view from up there. Still pretty cool from the outside.
So a fun fact that we learnt on the walking tour is that this beautiful park that we've been walking through is actually a moat. So on that wall behind that you can see is what separates the medieval old town of Krakow, which was once a moat, here where we're standing, and then on the other side was the outer villages that now have all been amalgamated to create the new Krakow.
A little bit disorientating because we just keep walking through these white parks that look the same, but so pretty in the snow. After a jam-packed day, we headed home to rest our feet at our Airbnb. This spot was such a find. It had really cool medieval details and was a total bargain.
We woke up with a mission to try some of Krakow's famous chimney cakes. We heard the best ones were found at the Chimney Cake Bakery. We headed to the stall and had the most delicious loaded chimney cake, absolutely stuffed to the brim with chunks of hot brownie and soft serve ice cream.
Just on our adventures to get to find some chimney cakes this morning, we've come across the old original medieval walls. We're standing in the section here where the moat would have been. You can see behind to my left where the gate would have come down and the bridge to let people into the city. But they're in such good condition. They're so well maintained from the 13th century, and everything just looks so much better with snow on top of it. It's ridiculous. They look amazing, really beautiful.
So cool, we love medieval cities.
Market Square is pretty cool, but Rynek Square, which sits just behind it, is so underrated. We loved meandering through this picture-perfect spot surrounded by the pastel-coloured buildings.
Next up was, you guessed it, yet another church, Saints Peter and Paul Church. This 17th century Baroque masterpiece was free to enter. What made it really unique was the cool statues of the 12 apostles lining the exterior of the church.
We headed to the Jewish Quarter for a late afternoon walking tour, again with Krakow explorers. Led by a guide who was immersed in the Jewish community, we learned about the city's German occupation in World War II and the devastating impact this had on the local Jewish life. We ended our walk in the Jewish ghetto, which is still being restored almost 80 years later.
On our final night, we went for one last walk through the iconic Market Square. It was a beautiful finish with all of the fairy lights and cosy restaurants with little fires lining the square.
That's a wrap on our Krakow adventure. We saw some incredible spots, but trust me, there's way more to this country than what we could fit into one vlog. Keep an eye out for next week where we venture out of the city on some amazing day trips.